Okay, so today we are going to calculate payments in Excel. This is like the third time I've started this video. I lost internet connection like almost all the way through. It was great. All of a sudden Excel Office 365 wasn't loading. So this is just plain ordinary. This is the Excel that's on my computer. This isn't Office 365, but it does the same thing. Okay, so we want to calculate payments. And the reason we want to be able to calculate payments is we want to know, like if we're going to borrow money for something, we want to know how much we should be paying before we go in to borrow it, right? That way, if you walk in and they say, like you've already calculated it, you know that you're only supposed to be paying like $250 a month. If they tell you, okay, the payment's going to be $450, you know that they're pulling your leg or scamming you. So we want to know how much, because this is our money, right? We got to take control of our own money, and we can't just be like giving it to, you know, some Nigerian prince or whatever, or the car dealership. Okay, so we want to borrow money and we're going to pay it off. And Excel has a formula to do that. So does Google Sheets, so does Apple Numbers. So, okay, so the first thing that we need to know is how much we're borrowing. Sometimes that's called the principal. It's also referred to in the formula as the present value. So I'm going to put PV right there. So that's the first thing we need. The next thing we need is the interest rate. And that's going to be in percent. So like, let's say I'm borrowing $45,000. So I decided I'm buying me a boat because I'm tired of the whole pandemic thing. I'm just going to cruise for a while. And my boat that I want costs $45,000. And let's say I found a good deal on interest and I got it at 3.5%. In Excel, if you put 3.5%, it formats it automatically. And then when you do calculations with that, you don't have to convert it to a decimal. It does it for you. I think Google Sheets does the same thing, and I don't remember on numbers. I think on numbers, when I've done it, like on my iPad, I usually go ahead and convert it myself. So in that case, what I would do is I would say, okay, well, this is my interest in percent. And so I'm going to say 3.5. But notice I didn't put the percent right there. I just put the number. So then before using it, I would convert. I would go equals, click on this, divide by 100, enter, and that gives me my decimal. Okay. The next thing you need is time. So this is going to be in years. So like, let's say I'm paying my boat off over 10 years. I'm going to put 10. Okay. So that's our main input values. From here on, we're going to be doing other things. So my basic formula calls for some stuff that isn't there. So if I go, my formula is going to be equals PMT. When I open parentheses, it has some funny looking things, right? It has rate, it has NPER, PV, which we have. So my rate, oops, first thing it wants is rate, and then it wants NPER. Okay, rate is the portion of the interest, or the interest per month. So this is going to be equals, we're going to take this, and we're going to divide it by 12. NPER, that's the number of payment periods. So this is the number of payments, right? We're paying it off by month. So this is going to be equals 12, because there are 12 months in a year, times the number of years. This is 120. Okay. The only other thing we would have would be our future value. In this case, we're paying it all the way off, so it would be a 0. You could have something where you wanted to know, okay, well, what would my payment be if I only want to get it down to 10,000 or something like that? In that case, you would have a future value. So, okay, so our basic formula is equals, and we're going to go PMT for payment. It wants my rate, so I click on that, comma. It wants my number of periods, so I click on that, comma. My present value, which is what I borrowed. And then future value is in brackets, which means it's not necessary. If you don't put the future value in here, it automatically assumes a 0. I'll go ahead and put it just because we have it. And then we don't have to worry about this type. Type is asking if you're paying at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. It doesn't make that big of a difference, like little tiny difference, so I wouldn't even bother. So then we're going to close parentheses. When we hit enter, it tells us $444.99. But notice that it's red and in parentheses. This is this is this Excel's way of saying this is a payment, this is negative. So in money, this money is going out. So when we borrowed, the money came in, that's positive. When we're paying it, the money is going out. That's negative. So that's what we do. That's our payment calculator. Now we can do this the same way if we want to do an investment. Formula is the exact same. So like, let's say okay, so I'm going to just copy these over. Okay, so let's say we got money for our graduation. Let's say we got $2,500. But I'm going to save that. So I got $2,500 and it was in my main bank account, but then I took it out of my bank account and I'm putting it into a savings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that negative because that left my bank account, right? Let's say I got the same 3.5%. I want to save it over 12 years because so this is my goal. So I got $2,500 from my graduation, but I want to turn it into $25,000 because I want a down payment on a house when I'm done with college and whatever grad school or whatever. So my future value, I want $25,000. That's what I want. That's my goal. And I want it to happen in 12 years. So what I really want to know is I'm wanting to know how much of a payment I have to put in every month in order to get this to go from $2,500 to $25,000. And it's over a period of 12 years. So my rate, we're doing the same thing we did here. So this is equals the time divided by 12. Number of periods is going to be equals time times 12. Okay. Did I do this right? This was divided by 12. This is divided by 12. Oh, sorry, I clicked on this wrong, right? It's not 12 divided by 12. It's the interest rate. It's a good thing I caught that. So this is equals your interest rate divided by 12. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to use the exact same formula. I'm going to go equals PMT, open parentheses. It wants my rate first, so I click on that, comma. Then it wants my number of periods, comma, what I start with, and what I want to end with. Close parentheses. Okay, so this is saying that if I want to go from $2,500 to $25,000 over 12 years, I need to put in $118.66 a month. So that's how much I need to put into that. So I have my little $2,500 over in my little savings account. So every month I'm going to pay $118, and then in 12 years I'll have my $25,000. And then that way I could use it as a down payment for a house or whatever I want to do. So, okay, so that's the basic payment calculator. Just remember that, like, as you're looking at these things, when you click in here, it'll tell you exactly what it wants. And like if you click on these, it'll show you which one it is. So you just go along. It says it wants rate. You put that in, comma, and then it tells you the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So you just follow. Oops, don't want to mess that up. So you just follow its instructions, right? It says I want this, 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 and this. You do that, and it gives you that. Hooray, payment calculator. I'm going to make that bold. And like I normally do, I can put this as input. So I would format that. Like in this case, I want this to be that colored because that's an input. I want the future value as an input. And then these are my actual answers. Okay, so that's the payment calculator in Excel.